Many business owners underestimate the value that they play in their total plan. And the reality is if you're an entrepreneur, especially if you're an owner-founder, chances are your entire business, your family, your team, the livelihood of so many people around you is highly dependent upon you. So not being intentional about the impact of you not being around, the impact of you getting sick, the impact of you not being here to guide the ship, or the impact of you being spread so thin that you're unable to support the various initiatives that you have, are all different aspects that entrepreneurs really need to think about. Because it's easy to say yes to new opportunities and discount how much of your involvement is needed. It's also easy to discount your value and saying, well, if something happened to me, I'm sure the family would figure it out. I'm sure the team would figure it out. Do they have the resources to figure it out? Will they be empowered and have the appropriate legal documents for them to figure it out? Do they know what your goals are and what you would want to happen in the event that you weren't around? So these are all critically important things to consider, because when you're a business owner and you go and start something, there are unintended consequences of you starting something new. And that could be succession, continuity, and you have to consider those things and make sure that you have a plan to take care of the people you care about most and to take care of the things that you care about most. So bottom line, don't underestimate the value of you. I was having a conversation with a business owner and his wife. And one of the questions I asked him, he built a great company, one of the questions I asked him was, what happens if you're not around? Like, what's the succession strategy for the company? It's highly dependent upon you. What happens if you're not here? And what happens to your team? What happens to your spouse, family, assets? What happens? Now, he had a will in place. And, the will said everything goes to my spouse. And that was clearly articulated. But my question was a little bit deeper. What happens to the business? And he was frozen in the moment. I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. That sounds like a really big thing to consider. Maybe we need to make a plan around it. And as he's thinking about this, his spouse looks at me and goes, what would you do? And she totally put me on the spot and basically said, what would be a plan? Like, what would be your plan in the event that this happens? Because this is a big deal to me. And the business owner that was there happened to be a member of one of these professional organizations called Entrepreneurs Organization. And I knew their attorney, I knew their CPA, of course I knew the spouse and the family. I said, my thought would be something along the lines of this. If we're coming up with a rough draft, if you passed away tomorrow, I would want to be able to have your spouse, your attorney, your CPA, me, and your key board members for your entrepreneurs organization, your forum members that know you, know your business, know your background. And I want to be able to get everyone together in a room and be able to provide your wife with the insights, the guidance, the perspective to say, here's the best path we may take with the company. And maybe your COO or your CFO for the company's there as well, to say, what's the best path for this? It might be, let's put the company on the market for sale and sell the company in the next 6 to 12 months, or let's hire a new CEO to come in. We want to make some critical decisions. But the key thing that I would want to know from you is who needs to be in that room and what potential considerations would you have? And that's something we might be able to answer in the next few minutes. And then we just need to make sure that that's communicated appropriately. And that would be the 5-minute plan. And in that moment, look back at the business owner and you could see a sense of relief. Like, oh, you know what? That makes sense. Get my trusted people in the room, provide the right guidance and insight, and give them a pathway to make those decisions and make sure that the legal documents support my wife's ability to execute upon that. Now, that's just one quick example, but it's that one plan that might have taken 5 or 10 minutes in a conversation would potentially save huge amounts of energy, effort, in the event that something actually happened to the business owner. So the key point is, think about what it is you'd want. Don't overthink it. And it's better to have a plan in place than trying to have the perfect plan in place.